The price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Black first, my brothers and my sisters. Welcome to the Afro Elite YouTube channel. I am your host, Afro Elite. Thank you all for staying. Thank you all for your patience. Shout out to every single last one of you all for watching. We are here. There are some things that we need to discuss. All right. The Chicago mayor, Brandon Johnson, is pushing his hardest, his absolute hardest to make up for the billion-dollar deficit that the city of Chicago is in due to the illegal migrant crisis. All right. At the fault of Joe Biden's illegal migrant crisis, let's not forget who's really at fault at that. Brandon Johnson is trying to get the Chicago residents to pay for that. And the Chicago residents are resisting that in every form, in every way possible. All right. So we have a lot to discuss with this. All right. This channel has kept you updated about the migrant crisis from its inception. We've discussed the migrant crisis when Lori Lightfoot was still in there. From the very beginning in August of 2022, when the buses first started coming, they were coming before. When they first started coming, this channel has been keeping you up to date more than anybody else. How do I say more than anybody else? Because I've actually been to these places. Other people report on it. Shout out to them. I've been here. So you guys are coming to the source when you guys come here. So I appreciate every single last one of you all. I sincerely do. But before we go there, make sure that you guys are hitting the like button and all that stuff as we play this disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, so here's the clip about it.
As the chill of December sets in, many city council members are still not warming up to the idea of a property tax hike of any kind.
Residents are already squeezed enough, and they cannot afford another property tax.
The mayor's $300 million property tax hike was voted down 50-0, but the latest working plan has cut that down to just $60 million. That's about the amount it would go up if the mayor took the automatic increase tied to inflation.
Well, the fact that we started at 300, then we went to 150, now we're maybe talking about 60 is extremely troubling to me because, number one, it appears that, we should have started at 60.
The mayor would not talk specifics, saying he won't negotiate in the media, but he made it clear.
So you guys know, and I want to reiterate that point. If he's saying that, because originally, remember when we first reported, originally we said, well, what Brandon was trying to do is he was trying to push for $300 million in property tax increases. And that got shut down. Then he lowered that by half, and he said, okay, well, we can do 150. How about we do 150? That got shut down. So now he's all like, let's do 60. And I'm saying million. Let's do 60 million. It went from 150 to 60 because the aldermen are like, hey, you're not going to put this on us. We already we not with it. And a lot of that is because the Chicago residents, the people who've been going there, me, Miss Jackson, Zoe, Danny, all of us who've been going there, Mr. Blakemore, all of us who've been going there, we've been setting this energy of resistance. We've been setting the precedent of resistance and showing that you can resist against the person in charge. You can resist against the man. You can resist against your boss. You can resist against that stuff. And then with Donald Trump being elected now a lot of people are feeling like they have an opportunity to resist against this democratic machine now. So now a lot of people are not scared to say no, which is why everything Brandon Johnson is doing now is being said no to. That's because we have been there and we have been pushing and we have been saying it's okay to say no. Some people, we gotta be honest, are scared. They're very scared, and we've let it be known it's okay to say no. So now they're starting to say no. So everything he's been doing has been shut down, which is why there's not a property tax increase. Now, what the alderman just said right there, he was all like, if 60 million was fixable, if that was doable, if 60 million could fix the problem, why did you start at such a high number? Why did you start at 300 million? Because if we would have voted 300 million, you would have went along with 300 million when all you needed was about 60 million. So Brandon Johnson is really trying his absolute hardest to get the Chicago tax-paying residents who own property to pay more in taxes. After he campaigned that he wouldn't do that. Let's continue, though. Let's continue.
He was dead set against cuts.
The people of Chicago say a lot of things to me, but they never say, Mayor Johnson, could you just cut these services? Mayor Johnson, can you just lay off more people?
One alder is...
Okay, so, and I got to pause it again. Shout out to everybody in here. We got well over 100 people in here. Not even, 6 minutes, right? He said, oh, the people of Chicago say a lot of things to me. The people of Chicago have been saying that you need to get rid of these migrants for the longest time. Ever since he's been in office. Ever since he has been in office, we've been saying that. He said they say a lot of things. They don't say you need to lay off more people. Right now, it's the end of the year. They're struggling to come up with a budget for next year because it's due next year, the 2025 budget. Because in a month, less than a month, it's going to be 2025. You already need to have a budget made the year prior going into the new year. They don't have that because right now they can't agree on anything. So what Brandon is saying that I'm going to have to start laying off city employees. He's going to have to start laying off sanitation workers. He's going to have to start laying off firefighters. He's going to have to start laying off police officers. He's going to have to start literally laying them off to save a little bit of money so the city can save a little bit of money because right now he's struggling to come up with a way to solve for this debt. Now, am I the best mathematician? No. My math could be a little better. It's okay. It's pretty good, but it could get there. Am I a politician? No. But if I was to make a recommendation, just hear me out. If I was to make a recommendation, what I would recommend to fix the budget, let's get rid of unnecessary expenses. So let's think about it. What is a big unnecessary expense that the city of Chicago is going through? I got one. I was just thinking I got one. Why don't, just to save the city, why don't we get rid of all of these illegal aliens? I think that would help the city a little bit, maybe a little. I might not be a genius. I might be wrong. I don't know. But I think since they are the biggest expense, because this is the reason why the city is in debt, and I'm going to show you that in a little bit. This is the reason why the city is in debt right now anyway. Since they are the biggest expense, they don't add any value to the city. You're trying to find other ways to cut ends and penny pinch and raise property taxes and do all of this stuff because you need more revenue because you're in debt. Instead of trying to get the citizens to pay more revenue when inflation is already crazy, this economy is already crazy, and instead of trying to suck out more money from the residents, why don't you stop spending this crazy amount of money on the illegals? And I think that's fair to everybody. I think that would solve the problem. That's just my opinion, but let's continue. Let's continue.
Proposing the council be updated on budget data quarterly to avoid the end-of-year scramble now underway.
Because if we're just shooting from the hip at the end of the year, we might find out next year the projections are wildly off and see a bigger problem.
One proposed revenue source that is off the table now is the increase in the liquor tax, which drew strong opposition from the restaurant industry. The mayor's budget committee chair predicts some form of property tax increase will eventually pass.
I think that ultimately we have to fund government at a level that people expect for the services to be continued.
For now, the negotiation...
And boy, he got the Sambo. This is one of the biggest. Let me show you. This dude right here is one of the, let me make it bigger so you can really see. This dude right here is one of the biggest Brandon Johnson ass kisses you gonna see. He's like, oh yeah, we gotta fund Chicago city government in order for the services to continue. We've been funding y'all. Y'all were funded for the longest time. The city is not in debt because the residents ain't paying their taxes. The city is not in debt because the residents ain't paying their dues. That's not why the city is in debt. The city is in debt because you all, who are supposed to be in charge of making sure the money goes to where it's supposed to go, have been spending the money on people who should not legally be in the city or the country in the first place, as well as other things. That's the main thing. And now you're going to put it on the residents. Oh, the residents need to fund the government more. For what? Y'all can't do nothing with the funding we've been giving y'all already. Y'all can't do nothing with that. Y'all had more funding in the last few years than the city has ever had. And that's a lot of that is due to the leftover money from the pandemic that y'all just threw out the window on Javier and Jose, who shouldn't even be here at all. And now you're going to sit up there and gaslight the people of Chicago, saying that we need to fund the city more if we want to keep the services. So y'all can put more money in the pockets of illegal aliens. So I just wanted you to really get that. These are the people in the positions that we're speaking about need to go. These are the people right here. All right, let's continue.
At a level that people expect for the services to be continued.
For now, the negotiations continue behind the scenes.
We're in the midst of negotiations with alders. We're in the midst of hearing their ideas. We're in the midst of running numbers based on what they're asking us.
Mayor Johnson said he is committed to presenting a balanced budget by the end of the year as required by law, but he stopped short of predicting that the city council would pass one to avoid a government shutdown.
Yeah, it's bad news. It's bad news. We're about to play the next clip, but if you guys could do me a solid, I would appreciate that. I really, really, really would. If you guys could do me a straight up solid and hit that like button as we're doing this. We about 15 minutes in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button, all of that. Hit all of that stuff, all right? I'd appreciate that. Thank you so very much. Now, let me get to the next clip real quick. Where is it? Okay. Right here. All right. Let me get to it. We already played the copyright thing, so we should be good. Here we go.
It could soon end up costing you more to head downtown or go to the grocery store in Chicago. That's part of a new budget plan that includes increased property taxes. Our Sabrina Franz has been following this. She's live now in the newsroom with more on what we're learning today. Sabrina?
Hey, Joe Marie. The Johnson administration started at $300 million in property taxes, then lowered it to $150. Now it's at $68 million. But that's not all of the changes we're learning about. Not even close.
We have found millions of dollars of efficiencies across the board.
$3 million in efficiencies or cuts, our sources say, part of what will make up for the original $300 million property tax increase unanimously voted down by City Council. An additional about $40 million lost to changes in Springfield. In total, Mayor Brandon Johnson has to make up about $340 million, committing to do so without layoffs.
Laying off Chicagoans is it's not a pathway to solvency. And cuts to services like law enforcement or tree trimming, these are services that the people of Chicago rely upon. So we have found levels of efficiencies. We have found more efficiencies in this next iteration that I will propose.
A source close to budget negotiations tells CBS News Chicago that the city has proposed $68 million in property taxes. They've also proposed increasing the city's bag tax from 7 cents to 10, adding a surge tax to ride shares taken in the essential business district 7 days a week instead of the current 5, alongside a parking tax and, as we've already told you about, a streaming tax and a tax on digital cloud storage, and a change to the city's permit amnesty program where some will be forced to pay back permits, possibly at a reduced rate or without fees.
Okay, and I'm letting you know, because what Brent is, and I let this play, so you guys understand, okay? What he's doing at this point, what he's doing is because he can't increase on the property tax, he's just going to go up on every single thing else. Now, he did try to do an alcohol tax, But the restaurant community, they was all like, hey, you ain't gonna go up on our alcohol because that's gonna make it more expensive for our customers, which means our customers are gonna buy less alcohol, which means we gonna make less money. So no, they was like, no. But they're taxing more on parking. Chicago parking is one of the craziest cities in America. Okay, Chicago parking is already phenomenally outrageous. It is out. It makes me mad. I might be turning red. It makes me mad just to think about all of the parking, and that's just the parking, not the parking tickets, which are already crazy. Trust me, I know the parking tickets are insane. The parking and the parking tickets are absolutely crazy. Okay. Then you want to pay more taxes for rideshare, for like Lyft, Uber, and everything like that. They have to pay more money, especially in the busier areas. And so he's going to tax on that. Then they're going to put a streaming tax. So if you watch Netflix, Disney Plus, you know, if you watch Amazon Prime, Hulu, you got to pay more for that now. Did you did you guys miss the fact that he said a streaming tax? Also, so he's like, okay, if I can't tax on property, I'm gonna tax on this. Anything and everything else is going to be more expensive. Bags. Do you guys know when you use bags in the city of Chicago, you pay small little tax for the bags? You thought they were free. They're not free. If you think they might be free where you are, they're not free. They're not free. 7 cents for each bag, for each little plastic bag. 7 cents. Instead of that 7 cents, we're just gonna now it's 10 cents. It's a dime for a little plastic little bag for your groceries. Okay, so if you're not gonna pay more in property taxes, you might as well be paying more in property taxes because you're gonna be paying in everything else. That's what Brandon Johnson is sitting up there trying to say. That's what he's saying. Yeah, the bags did used to be, they not no more. Oh, they 10 cents in California. Yeah, I know, and those things. Yeah, so taxes are through the roof, and all of this is because of illegals who the city was subsidizing and paying for every single thing, making this like some type of luxurious paradise, which they shouldn't have been in the first place, at the expense of the city. And now the city doesn't have any money. You can't expect Trump to be cooperating with them, because Trump is talking about deportation, which Brandon said he is absolutely going to stand against Trump in every sense of the word when it comes to that. So he can't expect help from his administration. So now what is he gonna do? Now he's gonna make the citizens pay for everything. Crazy amount. Now I'm continue here because we still got more to talk about. All right.
Very close. The numbers are looking good. I think we're going to end up ending this thing on the 13th.
The mayor's supporters confident they can get this done before Christmas. Meanwhile, in a letter today sent by 28 alders, they urged the mayor to consider cuts to his own office, asking for a reduction to the mayor's office staff to 2020 levels.
If it don't happen at the end of the year, we will put a bigger burden on the citizens of the city of Chicago, because it will cost us more money because we won't have a budget.
The mayor and city council have until the 31st to get something passed. And then talking to some aldermen, many say they're skeptical this will happen by next Friday.
Well, that's what the situation is right now. The situation is looking real bad. It's looking very bad right now, because every time, and they've been having meetings after meetings after meetings, and every single time they have a meeting, nothing seems like it gets done. It doesn't seem like it's going anywhere, because Brandon Johnson, he's trying to squeeze every dime he can out of the residents for property taxes, for everything. So, he was all like, I know this was something that you guys didn't want, and that you guys told me several times you guys didn't want this or didn't demand this, but kind of to hell with y'all, to be honest. But I need you guys to save me. I need you all to save me. That's what I need you guys to do, is come and save me. So can you please, go ahead and do that? And the resident Chicago, we ain't going for it. We are not going for that. Let me show you some clips, and we're gonna circle back to these. But I'm gonna show you this. This Danny's been going viral because of this right here. Let me show you. This was on the 2nd.
And all these Democratic mayors out here, and governors, y'all talking about crashing out for these illegals, right? You all stood up there and said you will not allow Trump to come in here and get these illegals. Yeah, you can smile. We're in a $1 billion deficit. And you spent half of our money, half of that on illegals. You campaigned and doubled down that you would not raise property taxes. I ain't gonna do that. You campaigned, went around doing that. And here we are right now. You wanted to raise our taxes $300 million. They shut it down. Now we back here for $150 million. Okay. See, this is what we asking now. Since you want to crash out, some of y'all say y'all willing to go to jail for it. Trump, Tom Homan, make an example out this Negro right here first. Please come here first, because you know what? We're going to help you. We want a forensic.
Ma'am, I would ask that you keep your, hold on a second. Stop her time. Just a second.
Okay, so Brandon Johnson, when she said the word Negro, because I guess Negro is a curse word now. When she said the word Negro, Brandon Johnson decided to cut her mic and be all like, oh, you can't say that word. Oh, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. So, yeah, that's what Brandon Johnson just did, you know, because he felt some type of way when she said that. She's still going, though. She ain't stopped.
Stop her time. Ma'am, I would ask that you, if you want to continue speaking, you have to make sure that your language is appropriate, okay? All right.
Alex.
Okay, you can begin her time again.
You're going to spend our tax dollars to go, Michael Rodriguez, you said to take Trump to court to protect these illegals. You said you're going to spend our tax dollars to take Trump to court to protect these illegals if they try to come in your district. And then you said all of y'all in cahoots with each other to do it.
Okay, now what she's saying, because I got the clip of her, and you don't really see who she's pointing to. Who she's saying the aldermen, and a lot of the aldermen are sitting up there saying that they're not going to allow for ICE to work at all. They're not cooperating whatsoever with ICE. They won't allow ICE to come in their wards and essentially deport all of these illegals. And if they did, they would literally sue Donald Trump. They would sue. This is what they're saying. They would sue the president, because Donald Trump would be the president at that time. They would sue the sitting president over people who don't have a legal right to be in the country. Oh, but get this. They would use taxpayer dollars to fuel their lawsuit. They're not using their own money. No, they're using the people's money. They're going to take the money from the people to fuel their lawsuit against Donald Trump so he doesn't deport illegal immigrants. This is how crazy they are. If you're wondering why it seems like, when we go to City Hall, it's always over the top, because this is literally how insane they are. They are literally like insane. This is crazy. We continue playing it. Some of them have even said that they are literally going to stand by these illegals, so much so they're willing to go to jail. I'm not making it up. They're willing to be arrested behind them. I want you, let's just pause this for a second. I'm sorry. We're going to get back to that. Has any politician have you ever heard of any politician? Ever heard, not seen. Have you ever heard of any politician, black, white, anything, ever even having the idea of saying, I'm standing on this to such a large and strong degree, I'm willing to be arrested and put in jail behind this because I believe in it so much for anything that benefits black people. Let's just let that simmer in. Let's let migrate in your head, marinate in your head. These people, they've been arrested for gun control. They've been arrested for immigrant rights. They've been arrested for LGBT stuff. They have never even slightly hinted at the idea of getting in any trouble at all over anything that has to do with us. Ain't none of them saying that they going to jail over reparations. You ain't heard none of them, and you never will. Ain't none of them said, I'm willing to go to jail over my belief that black people deserve reparations. Foundation Black Americans deserve reparations. Ain't you never heard none of them say that. Okay, I'm willing to go to jail over the belief that we deserve a anti-black hate crime bill. You've never heard none of them say that. You've never heard any of them even say, I'm willing to go to jail because the city contracts that you're giving, you're disproportionately leaving black people out. Black people are being neglected. Look at their communities. Look at the south side of Chicago and the west side of Chicago. They're being neglected. And I believe in it so much. And I believe that you guys are doing this so bad. And I'm willing to stand on it to such a degree. I'm willing to be arrested for it. You have literally in your entire time living, okay? And how I know that is because it's never happened. You've never heard any of these politicians, black, white, and I'm talking about from the most conservative Republican to the most liberal Democrat. These Democrat friends who are all down with the people and all of that stuff, and they love black people, let them tell it. You've never heard any of them threaten to slightly, I'm not even talking about go to jail. They ain't willing to get a fee. They ain't willing to get a ticket. They ain't willing to get even reprimanded. They're not willing to go through any inconvenience at all. Helping us, doing anything specifically for Foundation Black Americans, has to be the most convenient thing at all for them to do. In the slightest bit of pushback, the slightest bit of inconvenience, and they are like, oh, what? I mean, I tried, but you know, I couldn't. I'm talking about the slightest inconvenience at all. If it came to opening the mail, they'd be all like, "Do you guys have a mail opener?" Well, I guess never mind then. Just screw the whole thing. That's literally how they are. They literally. They are like, you know what? I would go in the room, but the room is a little chilly, so I'm just, we're just not gonna even go in the room and have the meeting. It's a little bit too cold, and I'm not. They're not willing to go through any inconvenience, but they are willing to go to jail. They are willing to get arrested, get a mug shot, get their fingerprints taken, get handcuffs put on them, and then walk into a cell, even though they assume they would get out. Relatively, he wouldn't go to prison for a long time. They wouldn't go to prison at all. But they're willing to go through all of that for people who are not supposed to be in America. Not just Chicago, America. They're not supposed to be in the country, and they're willing to go to jail for them. This is how locked in with their agenda that they are. But they never do that for us. They would never do that. Let's continue the video.
Okay, so now we about to make y'all famous. We're going to let all y'all constituents know who y'all ratting for, that y'all wouldn't spend our tax dollars to protect illegals and to get them legal services. So that's what we're doing. That's cool because we about to make all of y'all aldermen famous. Y'all think this is how it's going to rat? I think not. Flip Chicago red. We not playing.
So yeah, she went super. Can we put some fireball emojis in the chat room? Because she went off. Our sister went off. She went off on them. So can we put some fireball emojis in the chat room for our sister Danny over here? So yeah, absolutely, Hurricane, absolutely. I mean, yeah, she went off on them. Now, this is what Chicago is facing. And I wanted to show you this first. I want this to be the first thing that you guys have seen. All right. Now I want to show you something different. And all of this stuff is all going to add up. It's all going to add up. I want to show you this is what the people are going through. I'm talking about a streaming tax increase, a bag tax increase, parking tax increase, transportation tax increase, increases on every single thing else. Not that Chicago is a cheap city anyway. It's not like Chicago's cheap anyway. It's not like Chicago's not too expensive right now currently, and they want to increase the amount of money you spend on everything else. And they're still, mind you, he's pushing all of the tax increases on everything, and he's still trying to push for a property tax increase. He's still trying to push for that. The 60 million, they said 68. Some reports said 60 million, some reports said 68. But even if we say 60 million, that was 3 days ago. That was on the 2nd. That was 3 days ago. So he's still trying to push for that. All right. So with all of that going on, you got people out here trying to fearmonger and say that these illegal immigrants, we need these illegal immigrants, and that deportation is going to be a bad thing. It's going to be a bad thing. So you got folks out here. I'll show you to you right now. Like Roland Martin's out here. I fast forwarded a little bit. Let me actually speed up the clip just a tad bit, just to protect it from that. Okay, I think. Hold on. Just to do that like that. So he talks to this Haitian. I guess this is Ohio. I said Iowa. Ohio's migrant. I guess this is maybe a leader in the community or whatever the case is. I fast forwarded past that point. And I'm going to talk about the fact that now he's going to start fear mongering to say that illegal immigrants, the deportation of all of these illegal immigrants are going to hurt the city of Chicago. Okay, Mr. Roland Bowling Ball, no neck Martin. He ain't got a neck in none of his videos. He looks like a big, ugly, old snowman. He's literally built like a snowman. Listen to what he has to say. Brace yourself, y'all.
Omakongo, I'm going to start with you. I mean, we're going to hear more of this. Obviously, there are people who are scared to death when you have these Project 2025 people coming in saying they want to do mass deportations. They want to deport some 11 million people. And you've got some black folks who are cheering that as well. But here's the thing that also I need a lot of these folks who are black to understand. When you look at the black population in the United States, 10% of that are black immigrants. 10% of that. So when we start talking about these cities and different places, do understand that that's going to have an impact when census gets taken, when it comes to resources. But again, if folks want to sit here and want to be in massive opposition, go right ahead. But you're already seeing Omakongo.
Okay. Now, what's interesting is that he said 10%. And let's say he's correct. I don't know where he got that source from, but I've heard that number before. I've heard around 10% of the black population in America are immigrants. So let's say for the sake of the argument, that's correct. That's a correct number, right? Let's say that. If 10% of the black population, if it leaves, would it be this destructive, damaging? Would it be that bad? Let's be real, okay? Let's just be very honest. And we got some riders, and I'm not trying to diss nobody, but it's not like it's a 50% or 40%. I can see the argument being made if it's like 30% of our population. 10%, we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. We would be okay. First off, just because they're immigrants does not mean that they will be deported. Let's put that together, okay? Is Donald Trump going to deport every single immigrant in America? No, he's not going to. It's not possible, first off. And he never said he was trying or aiming to or had a want to do that. Okay. A lot of the immigrants here, the black immigrants, they're not here illegally. They're not. Okay. They've been here for a while. So they do actually have paperwork. So the whole every immigrant is gonna go, no, that's not true. Okay, let's come back to earth. Second of all, 10% go. It's not like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? He said that's gonna affect when the census get taken. Yeah, we're gonna have a smaller population. I mean, duh. We would have a smaller population because they add the black immigrants and all of us together. So our population size would get smaller. Now he does say something interesting after that. Then he says, and then when it comes to resources, so he's making it seem like our community gets a certain amount of resources because of our population size. That's the argument. That's what he alludes to with that statement. But that's very interesting because when you consider the fact that other communities, like the Hispanic community, like the small hat community, like the Asian community, all of these other communities make up a very small percentage, make up much smaller percentages than we do. Us as foundational Black Americans, we make up arguably the largest ethnic group in America. Maybe outside of like British Europeans, we make up like the second largest ethnic group, not racial group, because the reason why the dominant society has the largest racial group is that they add British people, French people, Italian people, a lot of Hispanic people, Polish people. They add pretty much any and everybody from Europe with European descent. But when it comes to ethnically, they don't really make up that large of a percent. Us as foundational Black Americans, we make up a larger percent than Italians. If you count all of us up, it's way more of us than Italians. It's way more of us than Polish people. It's way more of us than Ukrainians. It's way more of us than French people. It's way more of us than and that can go on and go on and go on. So our ethnic group makes up a large amount. And look at our resources. Clearly having that 10%, what that 10% gonna do? Because we make up a way bigger population ethnically and even racially than the Asian community, and they get a lot more resources than we do. They get a lot more resources than we do. So population size ain't really got nothing to do with resources, because we make up, and that's why I made that whole point, we make up so much more than all of these other groups of people, and yet we're at the bottom when it comes to resources. So clearly what he's saying it doesn't even add up. It doesn't add up, because if that was the case, we would have more than other people. We don't have more tangibles than any other people. So the whole the census is gonna change. Okay, and how does the census benefit us exactly? How does the census really benefit us exactly? Because if it gets lower, what are we going to do? They're not going to give you anything. Well, they're not giving us anything now. So what's the difference? All right. Now, going back to it. Yeah, we got hold on. 50 more likes. We get to 300 likes, y'all. 50 more likes. We got it. We got well over 300. Did we get the 100 emojis for the 300? I think I missed that. We got well over 300 people in here. Let's go. So continuing.
Farmers in California saying, we're letting y'all know there's going to need to be some exceptions, because if this happens, food prices are going to skyrocket. And they said, who's going to come out here and pick these crops? Same thing in Florida.
Absolutely. And Tom Homan, the border czar, doesn't care. And going to your point about Black people and immigrants in our communities, we got to be mindful.
First off, okay, here. Let me get to the argument, the very false argument about with all of this deportation, guys. With this deportation, food prices are going to skyrocket. Okay. In order for that argument, and I'm listening to you, but in order for that argument to make any bit of sense at all, that means this mass immigration, where you guys are allowing millions and millions and millions of them to come in, our food prices today should be lower than it's ever been. We should have the cheapest food we have ever had. I should see food prices, grocery prices be lower than I've ever seen in my life. You all should see that too. But what do we see? We see the opposite. We see food, gas, all of this stuff be higher than it's ever been. While you telling us right now that if they leave, it's going to skyrocket, that only would make sense if their arrival lowered anything. Their arrival made everything more expensive. This is why Chicago, which is why I played what I played in the very, very beginning, because look at what we going through in Chicago, and then look at what Roland Martin's argument is. We gonna have to pay more. Y'all gonna have to pay more in food. We gotta pay more in parking, which is crazy. We gotta pay more in for bags. We gotta pay more for tickets. We gotta pay more for transportation. We gotta pay more because of them. Chicago, just like New York, is in this debt because of them. So while Roland's going to be all like, oh man, y'all leave, it's going to get more expensive. It's gotten more expensive because they showed up. Now let's continue to what he has for what this dude, forgot his name, has to say right here. Oh, hold on.
For that, when some of his agents come through, all four of us can be Haitian as far as they're concerned. And if people think that they're not going to get mistakenly swept up in some of this, because Holman said we're going to go after the criminals first. He said first. So they got other plans. And so just getting swept up in something like that alone can be problematic if you're in detention, lose your job, so on and so forth. So that's number one. Number two, a lot of us who are complaining about, these immigrant centers.
First off, okay. Roland Martin is a Haitian. Roland Martin is Haitian. He was all like, we can all be Haitian as far as y'all concerned. Well, y'all paperwork ain't really came back yet. Y'all might all be Haitian as far as we concerned. Because we know Roland is one. He's saying that as if they not Haitian. Roland is Haitian. So, yeah, y'all all might be Haitian. I don't know. Yeah, we might all be Haitian according to them. Well, according to reality, you might be Haitian. Who knows? But listen. And the whole thing of, everybody might be Haitian. You understand that the deportation thing is not going to be like they just see a black person and snatch them up and throw them in the back of a van and then take them to Mexico. That's not how the deportation thing is going. Not for us. Not for us. He's like, oh, they might deport you and your grandma. No, they're not going to deport my grandma. My grandma got a southern accent. She going to be straight. She gonna be straight. Especially y'all in the South, y'all should feel rejoiced, okay? Y'all should feel rejoiced. For folks in the South, for any foundational Black American that got a little accent, we gonna be okay. We gonna be okay. Because like Chicago, Detroit, Milwaukee, we got like what is called the Great Lakes accent. All right. And then there's kind of variations, so that's why Chicago accent sounds different from Detroit accent to a degree, and then that sounds different from Milwaukee accent to a degree. In the same way, someone from Texas has a southern accent, but their southern accent might sound a little bit different from the southern accent from Mississippi, and that might sound a little bit different from the southern accent from Arkansas. You know what I'm saying? Or Louisiana, you know what I'm saying? So, there is variations in a southern accent or a Great Lake accent. But regardless, do we sound like we Haitian? We don't say, unless you like third generation Haitian, you know what I'm saying? And if he said it's only 10%, it's not much. It's not much. If he's saying it's only 10% of all Black immigrants is Haitian, it's not much. They not gonna confuse us with no Haitians. Okay, we don't got nothing to worry about. He worried. He might have something to worry about. Roland definitely got something to worry about. We don't got nothing to worry about. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna be all right. We are gonna be all right. Okay. We got accents. Just let your accent out a little bit. They can be like, oh, sorry, sir. Sorry, ma'am. Continue. We're gonna be okay.
Centers, community centers to help, help that ones that got brought to New York and all these other places. Guess what? What stock is soaring now, right now, Roland? Private prison stock, because Trump is going to turn these areas into prisons. And so we're going to be having more prisons coming to our communities if people aren't paying attention to that. And lastly, as it relates to people basically living in fear, I've heard stories about families who are leaving instructions for their children with their neighbors or other family members who are illegal, about their kids' allergies and medical records and all of this other type of stuff, in case there's a day where their kid comes home from school and their parents are gone. Like, this is how deep this is penetrating people across the country. And for those of us who are not going to have compassion for families like that, at the very least, we can have a little bit of sensitivity to what's going to be happening to all of our neighborhoods, because they are going to be ravaged physically and they're going to be ravaged economically by what you just talked about in terms of the farmers and the high prices that are going to be going up. So again, if you're not paying
Okay, hold on. Let me let them finish.
Attention to this, we are going to get what we deserve. They are going to be hitting our communities hard as well. We got to wake up.
Okay. Let me talk about this for a second. Pause for a second. Because we got to discuss this. As far as when people make the argument that about the farmers, right? As far as the thing about the farmers, oh, who's going to pick all these crops? Who's going to do all these crops? Do you understand the reason why these farmers, these white-owned farmers, because and notice, I'm going to say something right now that you guys might not have thought about, but notice all of these farmers. Oh, pay very close attention to what I'm about to say now. Notice all of the farmers who use illegal labor, because that's illegal labor. They're not legally able to work. They're not legally supposed to be. It's illegal labor. All of the farmers who use illegal labor for their crops are white. None of the black farmers use illegal labor for. They would never allow the black farmers to get away with using for just being open, and it be well known that the black farmers are using illegal labor. Now the black farmers, who everything the black farmers do is to the T legit. Everything the black farmers do is to the very T legit. They're the ones who get discriminated against. They're the ones who get sold fake seeds. They're the ones who get their property vandalized. They're the ones who got to go through all of these banks and all of these citations and all of these fees and all of this stuff. They're the ones who really get discriminated against, and they're the ones who do everything the legal way. They're the ones who do everything the legit way. While the white farmers are sitting up there trying to make it seem like they can't get the job done unless they use illegal labor to do it, because nobody wants to do it. Let them tell it. Just let them tell it. They've never actually tried to say, hey, how many people, American people, want to actually come work on the farm? Americans do what they if you paying correctly, they would work on a farm. You got American citizens who work in a sewer. You don't think they work on a farm? They work for a decent wage. But the problem is that the white farmers don't want to pay a decent wage. That's why they want to hire all of these illegals, or not even hire. They want to use these illegals because they get to just throw them a little something. Instead of actually putting them on their payroll, and they have to come to work every day and they're on their payroll, and they have to pay for their insurance and other health benefits and stuff like that, and overtime and holiday pay and vacation time. Oh, no. Oh, that payroll stuff, that's way too expensive. Just, hey, at the end of the day, hey, I'll throw you a little $50, $60, maybe $70, depending on how much you work, and we cool. That's a lot of income you saving on labor, which is why the white farmers do it all the time. It's not because people don't want to work on a farm. The people will work on the farm if you paying correctly, if you're not trying to finesse. But that's the thing. These white farmers keep on trying to finesse. Now, the black farmers never finesse. First off, they would never be allowed to. They'd be shut down immediately if anything illegal was going on. The government be like, oh, you using illegals? Oh my God, it's about time. I've been wanting to shut you down forever. They would do that if the second a black farmer tried to do that. But the white farmer's been doing that. And what's crazy is that Roland Martin and his ilk, the other people you seeing on the space, they are literally trying to defend the white farmers using illegal workers. They're trying to defend the white farmers breaking the law and using illegal labor to keep their farms going. Do you see that? Now, the argument of the black farmers not doing it, and if the black farmers who get discriminated against, they get sold fake seeds and plants and stuff like that, they get vandalized consistently, they get harassed consistently. We've talked about this on this channel. If the black farmers can still go through all of that stuff and they can still keep their farm going, there's not a single excuse in the world that these white farmers who don't get discriminated against, who get all of the resources, who get all of the help, they need illegal labor. There is not an excuse for that. But Roland is making that excuse for them. They don't have no excuse. They're doing it so they can get more money because they're greedy. That's it. It's greedy. But Roland, because he's an immigrant, he's going to just defend what they do. That's because Roland's an immigrant. But just think about that for a second. Let that marinate. Anytime they bring the farmers, well, the black farmers get to do it. Why don't you tell the white farmers to work as hard as the black farmers, and we be okay. We'll be okay. You just say it like that.
Jake?
So, I'm sorry, did you say Jade or?
Yeah, go right ahead. All right, it's you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I wholeheartedly agree with the previous speaker because that's the first thing that came to my mind initially, right? There's about 12 to 15,000 Haitians that live in Springfield. There's only roughly 60,000 residents. So if you are sending the majority or vast majority of the residents away, and that vast majority are probably business owners, private business owners, have family businesses, then what does that do to the local economy, right?
Okay, and Lord, and I know I just paused it for a minute, but if deporting, first off, if these people have family businesses, then more than likely they are legally able to be here. More than likely, if these Haitian people have family businesses and they're really subsidizing the economy, then more than likely they do have paperwork where they are allowed to be here. I am very sure of that. Because the way they're making it seem as if Trump is saying anyone who is an immigrant is going away. That's not what's going to happen. Let's come to earth, okay? It's not gonna happen, all right? But look, come on now. Come on.
And what effect does that have also on the families? And it's really disheartening to hear that parents are leaving, essentially, it sounds like wheels, right? Or to-do lists for their children in case they are taken away. That sounds like a form of modern day slavery, if you ask me, looking over your back, hoping the man doesn't come get you and make you go back on the plantation, right? And most of these Haitian migrants that we're talking about are actually here legally through temporary protected status. And Trump is well aware of that, yet and still he vowed to end that status. So those really concern me. Those matters really concern me.
Julian?
Well, we should all be concerned. This is really frightening at some level. These are people who come here legally. In some cases, they were recruited because of labor shortages in Springfield. Let me underline that, what I just said, labor shortages. As Roland said in setting this up, who's going to pick the lettuce? Who's going to deal with the crops? On my block here in Washington, D.C., I would say, who's going to clean your house? I mean, there are...
Okay, now before we get to that, because I'm going to have to talk about this lady for a minute. Let me talk about the other lady who was on. When she said that's kind of like modern day slavery, because I don't want to get too far. It's disrespectful. It's incredibly disrespectful that every single thing is getting compared. Everything that other groups of people go through gets compared to slavery, which first off shows you that nothing in the world has happened worse than American slavery. And if it wasn't the case, people would be comparing things to something else besides slavery. But every time someone wants to compare something to negatively, they always compare it to slavery. The reason why they compare it to slavery is because nobody can think of anything worse than slavery. So you're talking about people, human beings, our ancestors, not theirs, but our ancestors, who are literally considered socially and even legally less than a human being. Okay, your life does not have the value that a human being's life does. Never in the history of slavery has that ever happened before. You could have been a prisoner of war before and you would still be considered a human. You'd still have rights. Even as a prisoner, if you understand world history, you would understand even as a prisoner of war, there were still rights that you would have as a prisoner of war or as an indentured servant. You still had rights as a person in that society. Now, there were some societies that weren't would have variations of that. But indentured servants and all of that stuff, the whole concept of you are my property, like a donkey or a cow. And if you have any children, your children are my property. And if they have children, their children are my property. And when I die, my children will own your children. That did not exist before. That was not a thing. Where was that? That was not a thing before. And I'm not even talking about the brutalization that went on during that. I'm just talking about just the concept of I own you. If you have children, I own them. And when I die, my children will own them. And that will just go on forever. And my people will all my ancestry, my descendants will just forever own your descendants. Because that's what they were thinking of when slavery was going on. Okay, so you're gonna take that, and I could go on forever, all night long. But you're gonna take that, and you're gonna say people who left their own country and came to another country illegally, because if they weren't illegal, they would not be being deported. If they weren't illegal, if they had a legal right to be in this country, they would not be being deported. All right. So you're going to say that people who are here illegally, who don't have any legal right to be on this land, if they just leave, it's not like they're being executed or something like that. It's not like they're going to jail for the rest of their life. They're just going home. They're going back home. You mean to tell me you're comparing slavery to people being kicked back home? She makes it seem like these people are going to be hung from a castle or something like that. They're going to find the highest tree and hang them from it. They're going to be forced to back into. They're not going to a plantation. See, that's the difference with us. When our ancestors were caught, they went back to a plantation. These people are just going back to their country, where they have all the rights and citizenships and everything of that. Now, whatever condition their country's in, that's on them. But they will still be considered human beings in their country, unlike our people. So it's very, very disrespectful that she compares deportation to illegal immigrants or slavery. I mean, shout out to, before we continue, shout out to Trenton Makes. Shout out to Trenton Makes, sends a super chat saying, they bring up slavery, but don't talk about reparations. Good point. That's a good point. Can't stand these bootlicks. Yeah, they do. And then when it comes to reparations, they be telling us we need to pipe down. When we say no reparations, no vote, they tell us we're crazy. But they want to bring up slavery when it comes to immigrants. Disrespectful. Now, I'm going to go to what this lady had to say. I'm going to take it back a couple seconds.
Migrants that we're talking about are actually here legally through temporary protected status. And Trump is well aware of that, yet and still he vowed to end that status. So those really concern me. Those matters really concern me.
Julian?
Well, we should all be concerned. This is really frightening at some level. These are people who come here legally. In some cases, they were recruited because of labor shortages in Springfield. Let me underline that, what I just said, labor shortages. As Roland said in setting this up, who's going to pick the lettuce? Who's going to deal with the crops? On my block here in Washington, D.C., I would say, who's going to clean your house? I mean, there are 4 or 5 sisters who are clearly Latina. I don't know anything about their status, but they have their little cars and they come with their supplies and go to people's houses to clean them. Will they be subject to something? Many of the waiters in this neighborhood are Latino. Will they be subject to something? Basically, we should all say all together now, we told y'all.
Hey, first off, do you know how y'all, you know how most people actually clean their own house? Did y'all know that? Most people do not hire people to come in and clean their house. A solid majority of all of America, despite the racial demographic, clean their own damn house. We will. This is the Armageddon argument you were trying to make. This is the reason we should fear deportation, because we got to clean our own house? Because I ain't heard nothing scary yet. This is their Armageddon? You cleaning your own house? She'd be all like, yeah, you're going to have to get the toilet cleaned and everything like that. You're going to have to get behind the sink in the bathroom with the sponge, behind the part where the water gets behind there. And it'd be gunk and stuff like that. Who's going to do that? This is their Armageddon. And then she's just saying, who's Latina? And guess what? I think that this is a good thing. If there's listen, business, y'all, business is about supply and demand. If there is a demand for something, there are people who supply it. If the people who are supplying this demand, which in her argument would be the Latinas, if they're gone, the demand is still going to be there. Hey, let's get some FBA sisters up in there who can clean up the house. This is a great opportunity if for the people who actually need it to be done, or like hotels probably, because that's really most of what they be doing is hotels and motels. If that's the case, we can have some FBA sisters come up with their own business and they can do contracts for these hotels and motels and different luxury places like that. See, I'm thinking about it that way. I'm thinking about that would be a great opportunity. Have a few sisters, they get their LLC, they get their business license, they cleaning license, or whatever the case is. Bam, they can do contracts for all of these hotels. The small hotels, big hotels, luxury hotels, come in, get they vacuuming and all that stuff, dusting and because let's be honest, these Hispanics ain't doing nothing spectacular. They ain't doing nothing you don't do in your own house on a daily basis. They not doing anything at all. And as a matter of fact, they ain't really that good, to be honest. But that's another story. This is an opportunity for us. Look, if you say, oh, some of the waitresses at these restaurants might be Hispanic, or essentially what she's saying, they might be illegal. If they might be illegal and they gone, that opens the door for more of us to come in there. I'm looking at this with this fear mongering stuff. I'm looking at this. I'm just seeing dollar signs. I'm seeing these raining dollar signs just coming down. I'm all like, hey, this look like a good opportunity for us to get the bag. Because the demand, if what she is saying is true, and there are restaurants that do have waitresses that shouldn't be there, and the waitresses are gone, the restaurants are still going to need those waitresses. So you got Foundation Black American Brothers who could be waiters and sisters who could be waitresses. We can feel that demand. I'm seeing money with this. They tripping. Because they immigrants. That's why they trying to put this fear thing out, because they want us to be socially resistant to it. They want to breed in us and groom in us social resistance to the deportation. But the way I'm seeing it, I'm looking at opportunities. All she's talking about is opportunity. She's not making no sense. But if what she is saying does come true, I'm seeing great opportunities. You ain't saying nothing that I'm disagreeing with.
Incoming president made a strong case, a flawed case, but a strong one, that he could control the economy. Everything that he has proposed to do is inflationary. Removing either legal or illegal immigrants from this country precipitously is inflationary. Building more prisons is inflationary. Adding tariffs is inflationary. So he says that he wants to be the one who can corral the economy. Frankly, Biden and Harris were doing a good job. We had seen inflation go down to the Fed target of 2%. We have seen a number of other positive things in terms of the unemployment rate. They've been hitting all the marks. Their flaw, as we've talked about many times here, is they ain't tell nobody. They didn't shoot their own horn. But I don't know if it would have mattered, because I think too many ignorant white people, I'm just going to call them ignorant, too many of them, frankly, voted their race and not their pocketbook. If they had voted their pocketbook, they would have voted for Harris, Waltz, But instead, they voted because
pocketbook, and I'm talking about all of America. All of America's pocketbook is struggling right now, or not all, but America across the board. The pocketbook is worse off under Biden than it's been under Trump. So what are you talking about? They voted their pocketbook. Everybody's pocketbook took a dip under Biden. So what are you talking about? Even for the people who ain't struggling, ain't nobody saying I'm doing better under. Nobody is saying I'm doing better under Biden than I was under Trump. Ain't nobody make that argument. So you talking about you ain't vote your pocketbook? A lot of people did, actually.
they could not stand to pull a lever for a Black woman. But in any case, as Roland said, I'm not going to repeat it, F around and find out. F around and find out, because I dare say that based on many of the economists who have said, the Wall Street Journal economists said that the Harris-Walsh economic plan was better than the Trump, whatever that other little man's name is, that the Harris-Walsh economic plan was better. But in 6 months, I dare say if they do even a third of the stupidity that they say they're going to do, we will see inflation rising. If they deport, inflation rising. Tariffs, inflation rising. We can go down the list and inflation rising, but people voted essentially because they voted their whiteness.
Well, this to me is also, I find to be hilarious. Go to my iPad, Henry. Trump's deportation vow alarms Texas construction industry. I'm like, where in the hell have y'all been for the past several years? You've got nutcases, Governor Greg Abbott. You've got Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, Republicans in the state, doing what they're doing. And so, so y'all are sitting here, but guess what, Texas? Y'all voted for the man. Y'all voted for Abbott. Y'all voted for Dan Patrick. In fact, Republicans control all statewide offices. They've done so for the last 25 years. It's on y'all. So guess what? If the Texas construction industry, let's say, just crashes, again, I'm going to play Scarface's No Tears. If it crashes in California and Florida, guess what? Knock yourself out. I'm not going to sit here and say a word. Y'all voted for this. And this is
okay. Roland is going to stop there, so we're going to stop it right there, right? Do you guys remember, and we brought this up before, make sure you guys are, because I see Hurricane, he's on it. Make sure that you guys are hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button. Very important, especially if you guys are new. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, double check, make sure you're still subscribed. Just make sure y'all doing that. I appreciate you all. I remember saying this before. There was a factory, it was like a bakery or something. It was like a little Debbie's bakery in Chicago. This was years ago, right? A lot of the workers were not legal. A lot of the workers were illegal aliens. What happened is ICE came in, did their investigation, found out that a lot of these workers were not supposed to be there, and they wound up deporting them. Okay? So the facility was about to shut down. And then a lot of FBA workers started filling in those gaps. The demand, remember what I just said about supply and demand. The demand was still there. The people who are supplying that demand, which was the illegals who were supplying the labor, they left. So the demand is still there. So Foundation Black Americans, we went to the factory. I didn't personally, but we went to the factory and we saved the factory from closing down. So they had to hire about 700 some FBA workers to work because their illegal workers were deported. So this goes to the argument that, oh my God, if they deport them, it's going to be this labor shortage. And no, because it's always been the case where you've had us working these jobs. You guys, when I mean these corporations want to hire the illegals to fill that stuff in because they get to pay them however they want to. They get to essentially be greedy with the money, because labor is the most important, the most expensive part of this business, of a business. All right. So if y'all get to cut down on labor, then y'all get to make a lot more money. Y'all take home money is a lot more. But that, even though that's not legal, they've been doing it for years and everybody knows that they do it. They're the ones who really need to be going to jail, if we're going to be honest. But We can fill that in. Like he's all of this fear mongering. Oh, who gonna clean the hotels? Oh, who gonna be the waitresses? Oh, who gonna work construction? Oh, we got that. America's not gonna fall. Foundation Black Americans have literally never let America fall, and it's come close a numerous amount of times, but we've never let it fall. We gonna be okay. I promise you, we will be okay. But all of this fear mongering to try to get us to not like that, to not like the deportation, to resist against the deportation, and then you got stuff like this out here. Let me show you this. Let me share this with you guys. While we talking about we got to fear the deportation because this is going to be really bad for the economy. Look at this. Come on now. Would you?
It has released Immigration and Customs reporting that as of July, it has released 7.5 million non-detained non-citizens, people who do not belong here, roaming around the United States over the last 4 decades. More than 500,000 of them have criminal histories. Now, remember, about 13,000 of them committed the crime of murder in their previous homes.
Hold on, let me pause it just so you can see. I wish I could pause it without making it smaller.
Face pending criminal charges. So our tax
come on now.
dollars are being soaked while these people who should not be here are waiting for.
Look, I hate the fact that it does. Look at the numbers.
Their cases
I hate
to be seen.
this website like that.
And
but look at the numbers when she's
reporting
saying that. Let me make it
as of
bigger for you
July,
guys.
it has released 7.5 million non-detained non-citizens, people who do not belong here, roaming around the United States over the last 4 decades. More than 500,000 of them have criminal histories. Now, remember, about 13,000 of them committed the crime of murder in their previous homes. More than 200,000 face pending criminal charges. So our tax dollars are being soaked while these people who should not be here are waiting for their cases to be seen. Send them back. A new opinion piece argues these criminal illegals entered the U.S. under multiple administrations, but the size of the problem was likely larger under the Biden administration. So under the Biden administration, they have simply been released into the country. Now they are walking freely in the U.S., and no one knows where they are. All this is a quote. As bad as these numbers are, the reality may be even worse. In focus now, Republican Congresswoman Kat Cammack of Florida. How much worse could they be? I know on Capitol Hill, you have access to things that we don't see.
Well, Harris, it is worse than people know. Just look at the fentanyl numbers alone. 300 people on average are being poisoned and killed every day by the fentanyl that is pouring over our borders into our communities. The murder, the sexual assaults, everything that you can think of is happening at the hands of these dangerous, deadly cartels. And they're happening in every single community in America today. In my own region, in my own district, we have had murders at the hands of Mexican cartels. We've had bricks of fentanyl stamped with the cartel's logo on them found. We have had sexual assaults. We have had children trafficked. You can't even imagine the depravity that takes place in every single community as a result of Biden's open border crisis. It is worse than people realize. And what's even more damaging, I think, is the fact that if 300 people a day had died in an airline crash, if every day a plane was going down, there would have been every flight grounded by the end of the week, and a task force would have been set up to figure out how to fix it. Under the Biden administration, they didn't care. They let Americans die, and their blood is on their hands.
Wow. Those numbers that you just gave us are really alarming. I thank you, though, for the facts and the context.
Okay. Do y'all see that? Now, keep that in mind on top of the fact that Brandon Johnson, because of these are the people who are coming here that we need, according to Roland Martin, right? These are the people that we need so much, according to him, that we just couldn't live without. Let him tell it. But they're coming over here. Fentanyl has gone through the roof. It was a big and here's what's crazy about it. The Democrats don't even deny that fentanyl has gone crazy since the Biden administration began. They don't even make the argument that no, that's not true. They don't even say the whole misinformation thing that they always be saying. They don't even say that's misinformation and disinformation. They don't even make that argument. They be all like, oh, well, I mean, it happens. They don't even make that argument. So they admit that fentanyl's going crazy around America. The sexual assault and all of that stuff is going crazy. All of this crime stuff is going crazy around America. And you got the shills like Roland Martin and his ilk sitting up there telling you that the mass deportation is going to harm us. It's going to harm us, that these criminals and these people who are, whether they committing crimes or not, they're taking the resources from us and the opportunities from us. It's going to harm us if they leave. But I mean, they out here cutting up. Let me show you something else. Hold on. Where else is it? Let me show y'all something else. Look at this, y'all. Make this full screen for you guys. Make this bigger so you guys can read that. It says migrant accused of sex crimes against child arrested after detainer request ignored, ICE says. All right. So let's look at this. I ain't gonna play the whole thing. If it does play, it's kind of tripping right now. Okay, while we were
here in New York City, a shocking new ICE report revealing the full extent of the city's migrant crime crisis. There are reportedly over 58,000 migrants with felony records or facing criminal charges in New York City, and over 660,000 throughout our country. Shereen Murray is a former New York State GOP committee woman, a member of the Black Americans for Trump Coalition, and is a New York City business owner. She joins me now. Great to have you back on the program. Your reaction to these absolutely stunning numbers?
Well, it's a pleasure to be with you this morning, Todd. It's unnerving, to say the least. I mean, we've seen what happens across the country when illegal migrants commit crimes. In the case of Laken Riley, unfortunately, she did not survive. And that case was, that criminal was let go here in New York City. And so, I just call on City Hall lawmakers to really just loosen up our sanctuary city policies. And
now, I want to continue. Now, we showed a little bit of that, but let me get down to this, because this is the main thing. Okay. It says right here, a Guatemalan man illegally living in the United States was arrested by immigration authorities last month on suspicion of sexually assaulting a child in Rhode Island after he was released from local custody. Just let's let that sentence really soak in. This person, let me make it a little bit bigger for you guys to see. I can see what I'm seeing. Oh, come on, don't do that. This person who is legally not supposed to be here, he was arrested, and then after he got free, and this is what happens to them. When they get arrested, they don't get deported. When they get arrested, they get right back on the street. They literally get right back on the street. And after he got arrested, he didn't think of, oh, let me make sure I keep my nose clean. Let me make sure I don't do any crimes to get right back arrested again. After he got arrested, he sexually assaulted a child. Going into it a little bit more, Felix Meledes Gorekas, y'all don't mess with me with the names. Come on now. 45 years old. He is 45 years old. Was released from Rhode Island Department of Corrections despite a immigration detainer request from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement to hold him until federal authorities could take him into custody, I said. So the thing is that the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement said, hey, hold on, can y'all just hold him for a little bit, because we coming to pick him up. And then the No, I was about to say Chicago. The Rhode Island department, they was all like, yeah, nah, we just gonna let him slide. We just gonna let him go. We cool. We cool. We gonna let him go. And then what happens? He sexually assaults a child. We're gonna read a little bit more into it because we still got something else to talk about after that. A detainer request that local authorities notify immigration agents when an illegal immigrant suspect is due to be released. After federal authorities can take the person into custody and initiate deportation proceedings. But the thing is, they didn't want that to happen. And this is why deportation is such a crazy thing. Look at this man. All right. The second they let this dude out of jail, he goes back and commits one of the worst crimes a human being could possibly commit. There are some very sick and evil things that human beings can do. Very, very sick and evil. What I just described to you guys, without any of the details, is arguably one of the most evil things a human being can do to another human being. At the top of your head, you can't even really think of anything more demented and satanic than what he just did. You honestly can't. But these are the people that Roland Martin is telling you that we need in this country. We need them in this country. Let him tell it. I want to show you something else. Since we're talking about crimes, look at this. Venezuelan national charged with intoxicated manslaughter after crash kills Texas girl. All right. This is someone who's not legally supposed to be in this country. This is someone who's not legally supposed to drive, but he was doing it anyway. He was drunk. He crashed into a car and he killed a little girl, a little black girl. All right. We're going to look into this a little bit. It says, the suspected drunk driver involved in a Sunday collision which killed a 7-year-old Texas girl is a Venezuelan national. He's illegal. This is ABC News not trying to mention the fact that he's illegal. The other article I read was from Fox News, which mentioned he's illegal, but they're trying to say he's a Venezuelan national. That means he's illegal, okay? Continuing, it says, an immigration and customs enforcement ICE official told the national news desk TNN Thursday. 41. Notice all these 40-year-olds. 41. The other one was 45. These perverted, these irresponsible 40-year-olds sitting up there victimizing our children. The 41-year-old Jose, I'm just skip the middle name. Chanez, I'm just skip that. Y'all already know. From Venezuela, was arrested Sunday and charged with a felony intoxication manslaughter with a vehicle. He is accused of colliding with another vehicle at an intersection in the Houston, Texas area around 2:30 a.m. injuring a woman driver, that was the mother, injuring a woman driver in another car and killing a 7-year-old female passenger. All right. Instead of helping, now look at this. Instead of helping, the driver took photographs before driving away from the scene, according to authorities. So he hit, and it couldn't have been no little bump. It couldn't have been, oh, he just dented the car a little. Cars nowadays are made with a whole bunch of safety features and everything. So cars got airbags, cars got all types of little safety features. So you have a understanding of how hard he must have slammed into this car in order to injure the mother and then kill somebody. This man had to have been going about like 80 miles an hour in order to, it couldn't have been no little, I didn't see the red light. Now I was, I tailgated you a little bit, or even sideswiped you a little bit. In order for you to take a life on impact like that, do you understand how hard you need to hit that car? You understand how fast you would have to have gone in order to hit that car hard enough to kill somebody on impact? This man had to been going close to 100 miles an hour. He got out and then took pictures and then got back in his car and drove off. And they had to come and find him. It says a judge said Chance's bond at, first off, he shouldn't have a bond at all, at $150,000, claiming such a high number is necessary given the seriousness of this offense. Why give him a bond in the first place? You don't have to give him a bond. ICE said Thursday it filed the immigration detainer request with the Harris County Jail. Such a request asks local authorities to hold the suspect past their release date as ICE weighs deportation proceedings against them. See, this is why the local police department needs to be working with ICE. This is why they need to be doing that. But then it says, and now this is in Texas, it says the Harris County Jail did not immediately respond to a request for comment from TNND seeking confirmation as to whether it will honor the detainer request, which it should just automatically. And the thing is that if these people are illegal, they shouldn't even have to request anything. Let's be very clear. Let's be very, very honest. These people are not supposed to be here. What do you mean I have to, as the department of people who is responsible of making sure that this doesn't happen? What do you mean I have to request from you to hold them until they get there? I should be able to say, you know what? They need to stay there, and I'm going to put something here. There should be like a sanction that you are forced to keep them there until we get them. They should have to get them immediately though, because you know some jails have a capacity limit or whatever, but they should be able to be like, no, you are not allowed to legally let that person walk until I come pick them up. What are you talking about? These people are victimizing citizens. Had this been any other country, you wouldn't be able to walk after that and then go assault some little girl like that one dude did. What are we talking about? And these are the sanctuary cities that's saying Brandon Johnson and Eric Adams is saying that they're not going to work with ICE. Now, what's interesting, speaking of Eric Adams actually, he's starting to come around. Now, a lot of this is probably due to him looking out for himself. A lot of this is due to that. A lot of this is due to the fact that Eric Adams is all like, hey, man, I got some bad things going on right now. I think me cooperating with Donald Trump is probably in my best interest. Now, he's probably looking at it from that point of view. He's also looking at it from the point of view of, hey, I've been trying to get help from the Biden administration, and the Biden administration ain't been helping me. The Biden administration ain't been doing nothing to help me. So I got to do something. I got to do something at this point. So this is what Eric Adams is sitting up there talking about. This is the energy Eric Adams is on right now. Look at this.
Here committing crimes, robberies, shooting at police officers, raping innocent people, have been a harm to our country. I want to sit down and hear the plan on how we're going to address them. Mm-hmm. Those are the people I am talking about, and I would love to sit down with the Board of Czar and hear his thoughts on how we're going to address those who are harming our citizens.
You're open to that?
Open to
hearing what their plan is to deport some of these folks, and you think the city, in some circumstances, should cooperate with ICE.
Let me. You know what's interesting?
You know, did you hear the tone in which he said it? He said it like, "Are you serious? Are you really gonna do that? Are you gonna do that? Are you gonna?" Yeah, as he should have been on that. Okay, should have been on that. Okay, he's one of the main people who've allowed the problem to get to this page, this stage. So now he's trying to get it together right before the new administration comes along. Okay.
And I was talking to the team the other day. I want you to all go back and Google Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Google what they said about those who commit crimes in our city and what they said in our country. They said those who commit crimes need to get out right away. That was their position. So this is not a new position, because in the state of in the era of cancel culture, no one's afraid to be honest about the truth. Well, cancel me, because I'm going to protect the people of this city. And if you come into this country, in this city, and think you're going to harm innocent New Yorkers and innocent migrants and asylum seekers, this is not the mayor you want to be in the city under.
Hey, well, Eric Adams is now thinking that he's about to play ball. He's trying to do his best. Okay. He's trying to do his best. Now, he a day late and $1 short. Let's be honest. Eric Adams, you ain't no friend to black people. You doing this. He's doing this for his own little benefit. That's what he's doing this for. He doing this for his own little benefit, because Eric Adams, if you guys don't remember, he was literally sleeping outside. That's how dedicated he was to them coming over. He said he was the Biden of Brooklyn. He was sleeping outside for them, okay? He ain't never slept outside for no black folk, but he was sleeping outside for them. He was allowing them to come with open arms, okay? So now, because the new administration is coming in, don't act like we forget, because now you want to get on the page that you should have been on in the beginning. You can get rid of them. I don't got no problem. He's getting a little backbone now, because he's at this point, he's fed up. But we've been fed up. So don't act like just because he's on the right page now, we ain't forget, okay? We ain't forget what you've done, and you need to be held accountable for that. Now, a lot of people will say, okay, so what are we going to do? Solve this problem. What we need to do is that there are certain seats that need to be replaced with our people. Certain city council seats that need to be replaced when their time is up and it's time for re-election, for especially local positions, because the local positions are very important, because the mayor needs to pass things through the local positions. Okay, that's why Brandon Johnson is not able to get anything passed, because the city council is now fighting back against Brandon Johnson. That's because of the precedent that we set. Just keep that in mind. But the city council is now fighting against Brandon Johnson. So this is what happens when you have city councils and people who are in these local aldermen and alderwoman positions who have some type of backbone. So what needs to happen is now we need to get more people in these seats who have an agenda that we can rely on, who have principles and policies that we back our play. That's what we need to do. Let me show you this one clip from Miss Jackson. Come on, play.
So, Mayor Brandon Johnson, I was always taught that a man's word is his bond. I was always told that if you can't take a person at their word, you can't take them at nothing, right? So, because I was raised that way, I stand by my word. And there's 2 words I gave you. The first word was, we coming for them seats. And we are. And we are. The second word I gave is that we was going to make y'all famous. And we're going to make y'all famous. Starting with Famous Friday. Every Friday at 6 o'clock, we're going to be on Zoe's YouTube. Tune in, Zoe Lee. And we're going to get you one at a time. Starting with, we're going to pull your name out of a hat. And we're going to see who is the lucky person who gets to go first. Let's see who's down here. Drum roll, please. Let's go. We're going to make famous. This week, Friday at 6 o'clock, featured on the Zoe Lee YouTube is alderperson, because I'm not getting caught up in pronouns and junk. Alderperson Jesse Fuentes. Yay! She's not here, but her people are. Y'all get the word to her. Make sure y'all tune in so you'll know what to expect when it's your turn. For everybody who sat here and ain't helping me get my property, you gonna sit up here and watch them take my stuff from me? For every black person I know that get their property taken, that's a seat that's going. You can believe that. You can believe that. I hate that your name wasn't pulled first. That Mary Richardson Laurie, we're going to get to her too. We're going to get to them commissioners. We get to everybody who sat back and watching me be stressed out about my stuff. Tell Jesse Fuentes, tune in. We about to make her famous. Boom.
You just gotta love her. You just do. She just got so much character, don't she? Don't she? She just got so much character. She literally, I want you to understand, that was not staged at all. She quite literally had a hat full of names, and she literally pulled the hat as the timer is going on. She grabbed the hat and pulled the hat and read the name out the hat. Like, and she was all like, "Ah, damn, I wish it was you." But she literally in front of all of them pulled the name out of the hat and said, "We gonna get you first." If that's not some shit, if that's not gangster, you can't tell me. Who else has done that before? Like, that is, you got to know that's that majority FBA stuff. You ain't getting that nowhere else. You don't see no other group of people moving like that. You just don't see that no more. You don't see that anywhere else. Only us do that. Only we do that. That's FBA. You know, both sides of her family is FBA the way she moving. You just know it. You just know it. Ain't nobody else got swag like that. Ain't nobody else do. All right. So what she's talking about is her and Zoe Lee. What they're gonna do is they have a list of older persons, then they have a list of people who are in political seats that they're going to give the receipts on. All right. So when so that way the receipts are out to the public. So that way when it's time for them to run again, when it's time for their seats to go up, when it's time for election time, there's already going to be a long laundry list of receipts. I want to tell you, and that's very good that she's doing that, because that is one of the reasons why Kamala lost. Kamala lost because of that big clip. Let me pull it up. Just let me pull that up. Kamala lost because of that clip. Let me show you. We all know the clip. But I just, for the sake of the context. Hold on. She lost because of this clip right here.
The reality also is this: any policy that will benefit Black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No.
She lost because of that clip. I want you to understand that clip came out in like 2020 or not. I think it was 19, because that was I don't even think the pandemic was there at that point. But she lost because of a clip that happened about 4 years ago, at least 4 years before she ever ran. But that clip had been circulating over and over and over, plus other receipts like the whole Willie Brown and all that. But we kept receipts on her for so long. By the time she ran for president the second time, she never had a chance because we had those receipts circulating for so long. So that's a really good strategy. And that's what Ms. Jackson was talking about doing. She's saying that we're not going to wait till election season or like a month or so before election season, and then we start rolling out a bunch of receipts on you. We're going to build the case against you way before election time. So that way, when you try to go for your next seat, or you try to renew your seat, or whatever the case is, or go for higher office, go for a different position, there's already gonna be you're already gonna be on the internet famous. Like she said, make them famous. They're already gonna be on the internet, and all the receipts, all of the dirt, all of the corruption, all of everything that would make people not vote for them is already gonna be out. It's gonna be out at that time. So it's good, and especially because there's so many people to discuss, it's good to start early. So that's what they're going to be doing. So on Zoe Lee's YouTube channel, just Zoe Lee on YouTube. Let me see if I can let me see if I can put it. I'm gonna put it in the community tab when I get a chance, because I don't want to give the wrong thing and then y'all go to a different page. So when I'm done, because I don't remember how it's spelled exactly on the off the top of my head, and I don't want to say the wrong thing, so I'm gonna put it in the community tab. But on her thing, what they're going to be doing is Friday they're going to be having like essentially a receipt show about Chicago city things, city council people and stuff like that. Famous Friday. Okay, so this is going to be at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, so that's 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Zoe Lee's YouTube channel. Is the title is going to be Famous Friday. All right, they're going to be doing that. Okay, yeah, that's how it's spelled. That's how it's. I knew it wasn't spelled Lee, Lee. Okay, and so I knew it wasn't spelled that way. But yeah, that's how it's found. Okay, I think Hurricane got the link. I think he got the link. So you guys can just click the link later on. Don't do it right. Don't leave. But click the link later on, and I'm gonna also put in the community tab as well too. So that way we can start building the case. That makes it, and the reason why it's important is because that makes when we try to get our people in office, it's not this crazy uphill battle. They don't have this crazy uphill battle against people who've been in office for decades and decades. Now it's a lot easier for us to replace them. So, we kind of burning the candle on both ends. So we're going to be preparing and training our own candidates. That's one end of the candle. And then we're also going to be lowering the credibility, all right, of the other candidate. That's two ends of the candle. So by the time we get to the middle, it's going to be an easy thing. You might as well walk through the door at that point, because we already starting the work of getting both ends burned. So it's much faster. It's a much smoother and easier process. So I wanted you guys to make sure that you guys heard that. All right. And we got a lot of people in here, so she should have a really good rollout to this new series she's starting. Let me get to the super chat from Lock Vegas 05. Says that sister, talking about Miss Jackson, that sister was on fire. She needs to run for office. A lot of people be saying that. I don't think she want to do it. A lot of people be saying she would. Man, can you imagine her being in office? Let's be honest. Can you imagine her being in? Listen, when you go to city council, most of the time, city council is empty for the most part. There's a few people there, but city council is a lot of open seats, unless Brandon Johnson is there. Okay, he's not there all the time, but when he's there, it's a lot of people who's there because he's there. If Miss Jackson was a alderwoman, the city hall would be full all the time. It'd be lines out the door. Because Brandon Johnson don't even got to be there. The mayor don't even got to be there. If she was there all the time, it'd be lines out the door. But I don't think that's really her move right now. A lot of people talking about I should run. Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that comment. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Hold on, let me see. Is that the? Oh, okay. That's why I was like that. All right. Appreciate that. Thank you. I'm not. That's something I'm not super opposed to. I'm not super opposed to that. But it would take away from. It's some things I gotta consider, y'all. It would take away from this. I couldn't be doing this and being at the meetings because they would definitely restrict what I say on YouTube. But they do. Afro Elite for office would be. It is kind of catchy, ain't it? It is kind of catchy. Yeah, and I do got a clean pass. Yeah, I don't get no crazy rap sheets or nothing like that. So could now if I ran for office, I'm gonna tell you they gonna find some tickets. They would find parking tickets when I was like 21 years old, and they'd be all like, "This man is a criminal. He doesn't pay his parking tickets. He's not a man of the people." They would literally find old parking tickets to get me on. And I'd be the first person to ever go to prison, not jail, prison, over some parking tickets. So they would find something, you know. But you know what I'm saying? We coming to that age where, you know, we getting ready for politics. Even if I don't run, I'm a back one who's, you know, on code. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm just letting you know, Trump ain't even in office yet. Brandon is sitting up there trying to put make Chicago be the most expensive city the world has ever known. He's all like, you know what, if I can't put property tax increase, which he's still trying to do, let's not forget that he's still trying to do that, but he's all like, well, if I can't increase the property taxes how much I want to, I'm gonna increase the taxes on everything. And we all like, oh no, we ain't gonna stand for that. And because we're not standing for that, and because we show up at City Hall and you guys are subscribed to this channel and you guys aren't even in Chicago, not all of you all aren't even in Chicago or even the state of Illinois, but you guys are still supporting the movement behind this. This is why Brandon is not able to be successful, because there's a movement behind the agenda that he's on. And now, finally, the aldermen and alder women are finally getting a little bit of the backbone that they've needed to have for the longest time. And now they're turning against him. Now they're saying, hey, we're in December. They need to come up with a budget before the end of the month. And they can't agree on anything because they said, Brandon, you tripping right now. You trying to go up on everything. We can't do that to these people anymore. We've already put them through enough. You are tripping right now. And this is because we have set this movement up. We've been consistent with this. We've been really on this since Lori Lightfoot was in office, to be honest. And we've been consistent. We've persevered. We've supported each other in every way possible as a unit. And this is why Brandon is finally meeting his match. He is finally able to not have this dictatorship in office that he's been able to get away with for so long. Now he can't get nothing through. He don't know what to do. And he needs to come up with something soon because the deadline is in less than a month. It's in less than a month, but we are fighting back against him. And now we're at this point now that we're not just saying no, we're saying, you know what? He don't need to be in office anymore. He don't need to be in office. He don't need to be in office. She don't need to be in office. She don't need to be in office. Y'all all got to go. And that's the energy that we're on right now. See, and this is why Eric Adams is starting to change his tune. Eric Adams is seeing the resistance that we're giving to Brandon Johnson. And Eric Adams is like, yeah, you know what? I think I want to get it together now. Let me get myself together now. Because a lot of people are saying that Eric Adams is doing this because of his legal issues, which I'm very sure is a big factor. But Eric Adams has actually been speaking against the migrant thing prior to the investigations and all of the stuff going on legally with his cases, which is one of the reasons why they bought his cases up in the first place, is because he's been speaking out against all these illegals and everything like that. So that's the reason. So this is why I'm saying we need to make sure, we absolutely need to make sure that we keep this energy up. We have to keep this energy up. We have to stay consistent on this. So shout out to Miss Jackson. Shout out to Danny. That was the one sister from the video earlier in the live. Shout out to Zoe. Make sure you guys go check that out too. So that way we can start building the receipt cases. We can start building that stuff up. The same way we made sure Kamala didn't get in office, that's the same exact way we're going to make sure these aldermen and alder women, alder persons, whatever their pronouns are, don't stay in office. And then, hey, there's a new Department of Justice coming out. We got more people coming in. Brandon Johnson might not make it his full term, y'all. He might not make it his full term. We don't know. We don't know. Brandon Johnson might not make it. He damn sure not gonna get a second term. We all know that. We all know that. But Brandon Johnson might not make a second term. or his full term. Eric Adams might not either, but we're going to see. We're going to see, because now we're starting to get to the money. That's the important thing. Now we're starting the truth about all of this money and where all of this money and stuff like that was going. This is what's getting Kamala in trouble now. Because now a lot of people are like, hey, you spent how much? How you in debt? Hold on, let me look through this paperwork real quick. Let me look through how much money you spent on. Oh, you spent this on this. And so now that people starting to get to where all this money was going, now a lot of people starting to get in trouble. Now Al Sharpton's looking stupid because he didn't tell MSNBC he was getting paid. So that means he sent the money was under the table. It was a little wink, wink. Let me shake your hand with $500,000 in it. Roland he was not transparent that he was getting paid either. So now he's sitting up there trying to explain it was a political ad. That's what he's trying to spin it off of. So now these people, the money and the receipts are starting to come out, and we still got more receipts. So everybody's looking at the deficit that Chicago is in, and they looking like, I mean, we know you spent a lot of money on the migrants. We know you did. But where did all of this money go? Like, who did it go to? And how much of it did they use? And it, what I'm telling you right now, when Chicago gets audited, it's going to be a lot of truth exposed. A lot of truth is going to be exposed. And with this new DOJ coming in, and Trump don't seem like he playing. And the reason why Trump is not playing with this DOJ coming in is because Trump knows he's going to have a certain amount of power. He probably won't have his entire term, because during the midterms, it's a possibility that Democrats are going to take more seats. During the midterms, it's a possibility that Trump might lose either the House or the Senate. So he's not going to have Congress. Congress might not be red. Was it 2025? Congress, by the time it was going to be like 2027, Congress might not be red. Okay. So he gets that. So that's why he's all like, hey, right now I'm pushing for everything I want right now before the midterms come up and we might lose seats and then I'm not able to get my stuff done. Because the president is the most powerful when the House is the same party as the president. Okay, so Trump is coming in and he's coming in on scorched earth type of energy. So this is why we got to start even before he gets in office, so we can be all like, hey, get him. So we already setting up the groundwork for him to come in and then us to capitalize off of that and then replace him with our own people who will back our own agendas. All right. Oh, let me get to a brother Antithesis since a super chat saying Afro elite for mayor of Chicago. You know, that's a good campaign slogan. It's a good campaign slogan. I like that. Afro elite from. So I'm gonna put that. And why do I don't think it would change? Here's the she said, Ms. Jackson said, why do I think it would change? I don't think it would, but it's a possibility that it can. And because it's a possibility that it can, what we do know is Trump has all of this power now for the first 2 years. So he's doing it before the midterms because it's a chance. So let's get at least get in this. I'm thinking about how I would think about it. I don't know how Trump is thinking about it, but this is how I would think about it. Let me do my biggest things right out the gate. And then if the midterms do come and we do lose some seats, that way at least I got my biggest things out the gate first. And then I can kind of fight against the little smaller things. That's how I would be thinking personally. Now, I don't know if he's thinking like that, but that's how I'd be thinking. But we can tell right now, Trump ain't playing no games. And with this deportation thing, he ain't playing no games either. All right. So Brandon Johnson, he can act as if he's going to stand strong against this immigration thing. He can act like that, but that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. That's not gonna happen. He's not gonna be able to stand strong because he would if the people were backing him. The people aren't backing him. We're not backing him. And you have not heard one single person at City Hall be all like, Mr. Johnson, you are doing a great job as mayor. You couldn't be doing a better job. You are doing absolutely wonderful. You ain't heard nobody say that. You ain't heard nobody say that. All right. Sister Stephanie says Brandon Johnson needs to be fired, period. 100%. Afro Elite for mayor and Miss Jackson for alderman. Hey, I got to talk to Miss Jackson about that. We're going to see what we can do. Hey, look, Afro Elite for mayor. Look at y'all. Y'all already starting it now. See, y'all already starting it. I think I could beat him. I could beat him. If I ran, I could beat him. I could definitely beat him. I would have all the support and everything like that. I'd be doing crazy rallies. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I could beat him. Thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate that. But y'all, I want y'all to make sure that, and first off, y'all comments on the last couple videos, the last live stream and the video I did yesterday, phenomenal. Okay, I can't even respond to all y'all comments. Y'all comments have been great, which is really helping the algorithm because the algorithm is picking up on the likability and the watchability, all right, of the videos and the live stream, because y'all got a lot of comments on there. Okay, even the small comments, you know what I'm saying, that counts as interaction. Any comment at all counts as interaction, negative or positive, small or big, it all counts as interaction. So what the YouTube algorithm is looking at, like, oh, this video got a lot of interaction, which is why I do the thing in the chat room, because the chat room also counts. Even when you guys press the heart buttons on the side and the little hearts come up on the side of the screen, or the laughing emojis and or the 100 emoji comes up on the side of the screen, that gets calculated. They separate them and then they add them, and it gets calculated as interactions. You see? So videos and live streams that have high amounts of interactions, they do well on the algorithm, because the algorithm says, okay, people really interact with this, and they want to boost videos and live streams that have a lot of interaction, because the YouTube algorithm, their whole thing is to keep people on the app. So in order to keep people on the YouTube app, they promote the videos that people are going to like the most. So videos that have a lot of interaction, people engage with the most. So that's how the YouTube algorithm calculates that. So that's why when you guys leave a lot of comments, and when you guys are heavy in the chat room and everything, and especially hitting the like button too, when you guys put those things together, the YouTube algorithms are, oh, that's a really good video right there. Let me boost that up. So that's what's really been helping. All right. So and plus watchability, it's a lot of other it's a lot of other things too, like the watchability, like if you guys watch the whole way through, you know, because the last couple of things is got decent watch time. All right. I think what I'm gonna do. I think what I'm gonna do is, I think I'm going to sometime next week, possibly, I'm gonna make a video just based off of how the algorithm works. You know what I'm saying? How the algorithm works, you know what I'm saying? So you guys can understand exactly what helps a video do well or whatnot, you know. It might be a small recorded thing, but just so you guys can understand. Or I might just have a whole segment where I discuss that. Sister Alonda says, Afro, you can post a link on YouTube to YouTube channel that was mentioned in the city council meeting that was played earlier during the live stream. I can post a link. Yeah, I can. Let me see. Well, the link, I didn't actually get that from YouTube. I got that from Facebook. So I got to go find it again, because I screen recorded that like that day or the next day. So I got to go find it. But I can post that. You're right. I can't post that in the community tab, so y'all can go find those, just the whole thing. And thank you for that, because there's other websites. I find it on Facebook because I just think it turns out better on Facebook, but there's other websites y'all can go to find it. But I'll get that for you guys so y'all can see it. All right, I need you guys also to make sure you guys are following me on my various social media pages, Afro Elite on Instagram, and then the Afro Elite on Twitter. The links to both of those are in the description below. All right. So you guys make sure you guys follow me on that. So because I post a notification, so that way you always be notified. Also, to help the algorithm, remember, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you guys don't miss out on anything. All right, you all won't miss out on anything. Hit all of those things. It tremendously helps. Thank you all so very much. Brothers and sisters, I appreciate you all being with us this evening. Thank you so very much. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Be one to every single last one of you all. You all have a good one.